The Atlanta Braves dropped the series opener to the Washington Nationals 5-3 after Spencer Strider struggles early and the offense gets quiet. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, author of the Braves Today newsletter over at bravestoday.com. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That's Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. Follow him on social media at Shortstop Ball. Thank you to Mother Nature for banging the SEC tournament early so he could be here for this one.
Yeah, because I wanted to watch this one so badly. It paid off.
The way that this one went, alluding to what Jake's talking about. Braves dropped the opener 5-3 to the Washington Nationals in a game that had 7 total runs scored in the first 2 innings and then won the entire rest of the game. Spencer Strider struggles early. The offense picks him up. And then from that point on, it's just kind of quiet for everybody. I want to get into the offense in just a minute, but I think we have to discuss Spencer Strider. And I think a little bit of patience is warranted here because we have to remember this is Spencer Strider's second start since last April. And this is his 4th start since the 2023 postseason. But that being said, this did not look like he made the right decision to skip a rehab start and come straight back.
Yeah, certainly early on, especially. I mean, I thought he settled down a little bit after the first inning, but especially in that first inning, it is just, and we can get into the specifics more in a minute, but just to your overall point, yeah, I think we have to be patient with Spencer Strider, knowing that it is the second big league start. He did have the rehab starts the first time before he came back, which was kind of just his spring training getting ramped up. And then before this one, all he threw was a sim game, which just let him throw in a minor league game. Like, I don't understand.
What's the difference in 75 pitches in Truist Park and 75 pitches in Gwinnett? Like, what's the difference?
Yeah. At least let him get that game feel, because this is the first time in over a month now that it was actually, some sort of intensity. I know in the minor league game, you're probably not going to still have that same intensity, but certainly not pitching a sim game on the field with nobody in the stands or anything. So, maybe they didn't handle it the best. And at the same time, I think even in the big league games, we're going to have to be patient with Spencer Strider and trying to work back.
Yeah. And I think that the things tonight with Strider, you saw a couple different things just be a little bit out of sorts for him. And I think the first one everybody's going to point to automatically is going to be the fastball velocity, right? He averaged 95 today. That was actually down from that start he made in Toronto, where he averaged like 95.4. His max velocity was 97 today. And if I remember right, you go back just a couple seasons, his average for the season was around 97 miles an hour. So the velocity is not quite where it's always historically been. It still doesn't feel like that fully explains what happened in the first inning, allowing multiple runs, taking 20 plus pitches to get through the first inning after 3 runs came across the board. But it feels like between the fastball not being its normal kind of intensity, and then the slider not getting the swings and misses that it normally does, guys just weren't really fooled by the slider early, meant that he ends up giving up, I believe it was 4 consecutive hits, all with 1 out in the first inning, and 3 runs come across.
Yeah, if I sit back and just analyze this start from Spencer Strider, fastball velocity certainly is key. He has even said himself, he cannot be the same pitcher if he can't reach back and get 98, 99, averaging 95, it's still good. I'm not saying he can't be a good pitcher. That's still really fast, and being able to top out at 97, but it doesn't give you that wiggle room where, like, say the home run to Dylan Cruz, it was 95 up. If it's 97 up, that's maybe a pop up. But instead, Dylan Cruz, that 2 mile per hour difference, it makes a difference, and he's able to get to it on that. But I think if I look back at, there's really two pitches in this game that I think Spencer Strider would like to have back. And it's the 2 sliders in the first inning that just didn't have that bite. And they kind of hung out the middle of the plate a little bit. And really, I mean, they weren't hard hit swings, but they just kind of got pulled into right field. And those back-to-back at bats and that slider, you really want that in. Sean Murphy wants that into the left-handed hitter, and it stayed out middle of the plate, and they just kind of got laced into right field. Outside of that, I thought the slider was okay. I mean, he got 42% whiff rate on that slider in this one, 5 whiffs on 12 swings. You generally will see more than that. Again, it wasn't great, but if I look at that pitch overall, it's those 2 in that first inning. If you could have those 2 back, obviously could be a much better start. And the wild pitch also led to a run in that first inning. You don't have that. And it takes 1 run off the board. You also had the ball later, which I'm sure we'll get to, that led to another run. So the pitching kind of handed them a couple. But I thought the fastball location was okay, except for hit a couple of batters, which again, just kind of tells you is a little bit all over the place for Spencer Strider. And he's rusty. He's made 2 big league starts in the past year now. So again, I'm not as concerned with what I saw tonight. Because I did think the slider got better. He had to throw more changeups probably than he wanted to because they had a bunch of left-handed hitters in the lineup. He threw 8 of them in this one. He mainly wants to be fastball slider, but just because of who they had in the lineup. But I'm excited to see him get back out there and get better because I still think he can get back to being the good version of Spencer Strider. Whether or not he can be the great version probably is going to depend on that fastball velocity, but I think he will get better and better.
Yeah. And to your point on those 2 sliders in the first inning, the Luis Garcia one, the second one of the 2, was in the zone, but to your point, it was bottom third of the zone, but right in the middle of the plate. And Murphy wanted that in a different location. The Keibert Ruiz one, the double, that was below the zone and another good piece of hitting. We talked about this with Raisel Iglesias in Pittsburgh, I think, where he gave up a couple hits on pitches all out of the zone that guys went and got. Same thing there. Keibert Ruiz goes down below the zone to get that ball. It's really hard to argue that that's not a good placement for an 0-1 slider, although the one before it was just barely higher and it got fouled off. So,
and if you're not as worried about 97, 98, 99, you can stay back on that a little bit more, right? Yeah. And that seems kind of what the Nats hitters were able to do there.
It all kind of comes back to that fastball. As far as the bullpen goes, in this one, you had Aaron Bummer, Dylan Lee, Rafael Montero. A little bit of a different usage, right? You typically don't get both the lefties at the same time there. But Dylan Lee gives up 1 run on 2 hits. Rafael Montero walks 1, but gets out of it. Bullpen was fine. Obviously not the reason you lost. The offense, just being able to kind of do anything else after those first 2 innings kind of ended up being the problem here. And we'll get to that next, right here on the Braves Postcast. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Because Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Managing money with a partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. What's really frustrating for me in this one, Jake, is the Braves get Mitchell Parker for 3 runs in the 3rd inning. They have a home run, and then they get 3 consecutive doubles that bring in 2 more runs. And, so 4 runs in that inning. From that point, his next 3 1/3 innings, they get 2 hits, no runs. And Atlanta's offense just really can't get anything going after that 2nd inning. I don't know if I'm more concerned about that the offense in general from how this one went, or the fact that you again kind of had a lot of the production, not all of it, but a lot of the production come from the bottom of the order. As far as Albies, White, Harris, they all doubled there in that 2nd inning. And outside of them, Alex Verdugo's hitless at leadoff, and we're going to get to Verdugo leading off in just a second. Riley was 0 for 3 in this one. Sean Murphy 0 for 4. But overall, just kind of a quiet night from the offense. It just felt like they really weren't able to figure out Mitchell Parker after that first time through.
Yeah, Anthony Saunders in the comment section is spot on. When Allen and Fairchild are the only ones getting hits after the second inning, you have a problem, and
Yeah.
that is a big problem. We can talk about Spencer Strider, and we already did, and he certainly put this team in a hole. But it's a 1-run ball game after the second inning.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, the way the offense looked over the weekend, they're going to come back. They may win this game by 3-4 runs. Like, I had complete confidence that this offense was just going to come back and win this game after they got those 3 runs, got into it. Even after the run for the Nats to take the lead back, I thought this team's got 7 more chances to score a couple of runs against the Nats pitching staff, one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball, the worst bullpen in baseball. And they did absolutely nothing. It's completely frustrating. And like I said, coming off a weekend in Boston where it looked like the offense we all thought they can be. I mean, their approach was good. They had the power in there too. It all looked great. Yeah. And it just nothing. And the 2 hits that you had, they were both leadoff singles with fast runners and nothing. And the 8th inning especially was frustrating to me because Snick, give him credit. He pinch hits Fairchild there, and Fairchild, gets the hit against the lefty, and you got a leadoff runner in a 2-run game with the middle of your lineup coming up, and Riley hits into a double play. And it's at that point I said, okay, they're not winning this game. It's just they're back to the bad offense. And credit to Kyle Finnegan. He came in and just threw strikes. That 2-run lead was big because he just came in and threw strikes and said, you're going to hit a solo home run. It's not going to matter. So I thought that was great. He was a free agent this offseason, by the way, could have had him. But it's just the offense. I mean, again, you can blame the pitching. Certainly wasn't great early on, but it was a 1-run game after the second inning against the Nationals pitching staff, one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball. And this offense didn't do anything. It's bad. That's the only way to put it. I put it squarely on the offense in this one.
The Nats threw 2 relievers with an ERA over 6 in this game, and you combined for 1 hit off of those guys. The Nats bullpen didn't strike anybody out. Washington finished this game with 4 strikeouts, all from Mitchell Parker. Atlanta only drew 1 walk, though. And here's the biggest thing. I've seen this in the comments a couple of times. I think Mass Boost is one of the ones that mentioned this. If you're going to pinch hit Stuart Fairchild for Alex Verdugo in the 8th inning against a lefty, why did you start Alex Verdugo at leadoff versus a lefty? If you were just going to pinch hit for him against a lefty later in the game, was that one of those we're a little bit desperate situations? We've got to get something going with somebody else? Because it felt like if you were going to put Fairchild in there versus a lefty, just start Fairchild with a lefty on the mound.
And that's what he's been doing lately too when lefties have been starting. He's been having Fairchild start. But yeah, I don't know. Unless I didn't look at the numbers for Mitchell Parker, I doubt they're that great against lefty in general. So I don't know if the splits there with Mitchell Parker really matter all that much. But yeah, that's a bit of a head scratcher. If you've been starting Fairchild against lefties, they had a good game against lefties not too long ago. I know that really helped the Braves win against the Nationals. So that one didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I'm not a super huge believer in small sample splits like this, like one season looks, but against righties, Mitchell Parker's allowing a 209 average, against lefties a 255. So I guess there's some explanation there. It's still just odd though, that like you lead off Alex Verdugo and then you pinch hit for him. I do think that like we do get the home run from Matt Olson, team leading 10th home run of the year. Kind of nice to see him being a little more solid here. I do find it interesting that if you are legitimately concerned about how about the offense not producing tonight, you don't try to find a way to get Drake Baldwin's bat in a pinch hitting opportunity. I know going off the numbers, you were going to do Fairchild for Verdugo, but it's just odd you didn't try to find a way to force that and get that in there.
Yeah, I just don't know when that would have been because, like I said, there were only 2 hits after the second inning, so it's not like there was a great chance to really put him in a clutch spot. But I do think you got to find more ways to use his bat, as hot as he's been here lately, even in games that he doesn't start. I think you got to pick a spot and hope that maybe he runs into one or gets a rally going. But I don't think there was that great opportunity to do it tonight because the offense really didn't put any pressure on them after the second inning.
Yeah, talking about pressure being on guys now. Well, correction, I'm going to back up. I did not know that Austin Riley could jump that high. The first inning, Spencer Strider throws the ball away, trying to pick off at first base. CJ Abrams runs to second and then keeps running to third. Kind of a bad move. Matt Olson already had the ball. Olson throws high. Riley, highest jump I've ever seen the man make. Barely gets it, but gets it. Abrams thought that the ball was obviously past him into the wall, and so he goes to run home, gets stuck in a pickoff. How do you score that, Jake? Because I'm a little not sure about how you're supposed to score that one.
Yeah, that's one I just put an asterisk by, and then I just say it's a weird play. At the end of the day,
I went 3-5-2-5, but like, do you have to mark the pickoff first, like E1 and then 3-5-2-5? Just
there's got to be an error in there somewhere because he technically got to third base, I guess, and went past it. So I think you got to put an error in there to get him to third base. But then I don't know how the sequencing works for the throw from Olson to Riley. But Riley is a lot more athletic than a lot of people think. I mean, he not only did he jump up and catch that, he's like trying to twist and turn and make a tag on the way down.
He almost tags him,
yeah. I mean, he's a sneaky athletic guy. I always say he's faster than many people think he is. But
his sprint speed's one of the best on the team. People just don't realize he's a big boy. But getting back to the segue I was trying to do there. Talking about pressure being on somebody now. AJ Smith-Shawver gets the ball tomorrow with the Braves now back to 500 at 24-24, taking on Trevor Williams. Assuming AJ Smith-Shawver is okay using that glove that Rafael Montero had to borrow there in the 8th inning. Expectations for the youngster tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, expectations are high and kind of needed because you got Mackenzie Gore in the finale, who's a tough pitcher. You obviously Chris Sale's going for you, so you feel good on your side too. But after dropping game 1 of this series, you cannot let this series get away. Your schedule is about to really pick up, and you drop the first one on the road. You cannot lose this series. So it's a big start for AJ Smith-Shawver, but even more than that, I'm expecting big things from him. I'm expecting another good start, but this offense, he got to pick it up. I don't care if AJ gives up 3 or 4 runs in the first inning like Strider did. You go out and you score 6, 7, or 8, whatever it takes to win this ball game. I'm putting this one on the offense. You couldn't come through in game 1 of this one when the pitching kept you in it. You got to come out and win. Make sure you score enough to win in game 2 and then give Chris Sale a chance in the finale.
Yeah. Trevor Williams, reminder, 4 1/3 innings last week against Atlanta. 4 runs, 3 of those were earned on 5 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Atlanta did win that game 5-2. Okay, so again, Braves dropped game 1 5-3. AJ Smith-Shawver versus Trevor Williams tomorrow, 6:45 p.m. We'll be back here for a postcast after that game is over. Do us a favor, if you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta. And we will be back tomorrow with another postcast, as well as more Locked On Braves from Jake. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Braves Postcast.